Hey guys, what's up? This is going to be a review of the Microsoft E3 presentation. So it was on last night, and I had strong thoughts going into this. I thought that all of the power and all of the, I think the future of gaming was in Microsoft's hands to decide. And by that I mean, ever since the announcement of the Xbox One. The Xbox One has been struggling badly and getting destroyed by the PS4. Not even a question. I think they're outselling them like nearly 3, could be even 4 to 1 at this time. It's not even a question. So this generation is completely out of Microsoft's hands. But I feel like Xbox's arrogance cost them this. Ever since the lead, Xbox 360 of the last generation completely dominated the PS3, no questions asked. Probably up there with maybe one of the most successful consoles of all time. Even looking at the games for the 360. Now, I felt like Microsoft in their announcement of the Xbox One were arrogant. You know, they gave us a media machine. The Xbox One, it's not a gaming console. This is an all-in-one entertainment system. This was an always online console. This was what was it, DRM as well. It was, if you didn't have internet access, you would have a fucking $500 brick. Another huge talking point is $500. Okay, you're paying $500 for an entertainment machine. It was less powerful than the PS4. You had to buy a Kinect with it, and it cost you $500. Next night, on the next night of E3, Sony come out with the PS4. Here's a more powerful console. Here's where we're primarily focused on gaming. It's $100 cheaper. It's more powerful. And, you know, the biggest cheer Sony got that night, if I remember correctly, was when they actually said, it was like, yes, and of course, you don't need to always be online. And the place erupted because everyone was so taken aback by Microsoft's just craziness at this stupidity, thinking they can force this upon people. And the guy who was at the head of Xbox, I can't remember his name now, got fired. I think he lasted like another year and a half or so. And then Phil Spencer come in. And I have to say, ever since Phil Spencer come in, the new head of Xbox, he's really been trying to claw back and close this gap on the Xbox One and the PS4. He really is. Now, being realistic, I don't think that's ever going to happen, but there's certainly a lot of room for damage control, I think. A lot of room to make back some of that distance. Now, going into this E3, Xbox have been losing badly for the last couple of years. Going into this E3, there was talk of a Scorpio, okay, Project Scorpio. And for years people said, you know, as on top of Xbox not having many good games, so to speak, many good exclusives, and a less powerful console, that I lost what I was going to say. So going into that, they had less consoles. Yeah, they also had a less powerful machine as well. That was also said about the Xbox One. So now I think because that was used against them for so long, they have focused primarily on building a machine to kind of fight back this. Now, it was up in the air for me. I didn't know what the Scorpio was. I didn't know if this was the next generation again of gaming. I thought maybe this could be like, you know, say the Xbox, whatever, the next version, the PS5, you know what I mean? I thought this was the next version. And the only thing that kind of caught my attention was when Sony recently brought out a PS4 Pro, and it's kind of, you know, a bit better, a bit faster, all the rest of it, you know yourself. And the Scorpio said it's supposed to be crazy powerful, super upgraded. And I think Sony were asked if they're going to make another console to compete with the Scorpio. And he said no. And I was sort of thinking, this is either arrogance or else there's something they know that we don't. And last night it was revealed that the Scorpio, the Xbox One X, which is was really called. That's what it's called now. It's a 4K machine. That's all it is. It's an Xbox One that plays all Xbox One games in 4K. That's what we're dealing with. I don't think there's anything special about it. If you're into graphics, if you're like, like a proper graphics whore. But saying this, one of the things that stood out to me as well, okay? This console will cost you $500 euro, which is already, I think it could be $150 or $100 dearer than the PS4 Pro. So, there's still the price. I don't agree with that either. I think it's silly. They're still outpricing themselves. I'll get back to that in a second. So, where are we? The Scorpio's not pushing boundaries, okay? Just coming out and saying it as is. It's just not. Not pushing boundaries, and it's simply just a 4K machine. They announced that Gears of War, I think it was Halo, Final Fantasy will all get, free, 4K updates. That's what I was talking about. I'm sorry, my head keeps jumping. They were talking about, so this is going to cost you $500 for this 4K machine. It's the whole selling point. They must have, I have a counter on and watch that press conference again and listen to many times. They actually say fucking 4K. And I'm not sure if anybody's really interested in 4K. Like, if you don't have a 4K TV, okay, you need to go out and you want to get into 4K gaming, console gaming. You need to go out and you need to buy this Xbox One X for $500. And then on top of that, you need to buy a 4K TV, which I'm pretty sure would cost you maybe the guts of $1,000. So that's $1,500, say, euro, maybe, to get into this 4K gaming. Now, all of a sudden, if you're starting to spend, say the guts of $1,500, if you don't have a 4K TV, you're starting to tread on the toes of PC gaming. And that's something that you have to be very, very careful of. Especially with Microsoft, with the Xbox whole thing. Because even the Xbox, because Microsoft have a good chunk, I would say, of the PC market as well, kind of gaming-wise, all of their exclusives are not console exclusives, Microsoft's. They're on PC as well. So it's a no-brainer. Which I'm trying to think here. I'm sitting there trying to think and figure out what the hell are these people thinking. Like, if you have that money, $1,500 lying around to get into into 4K gaming, you want to make this jump. Why not buy a PC? And then you even have like a PC as well to use. There's just so much more you can do with a PC. You have mods, everything. It's endless. I'm just not understanding what they're trying to do with this Scorpio. I was sitting there and then to my amazement, they started adding 4K to every game they announced, okay? Like, I'm not even joking you. If you haven't seen this press conference, I'm not joking you. They're releasing 4K Minecraft, okay? This is high definition pixels we're talking about. Like, Minecraft is literally fucking blocks. Like, you can play it on 140p. I don't think it'll make much of a difference. Like, they're trying to sell you 4K Minecraft. Now, this kind of starting to sound like a buzzword to me, 4K, oh, I want this, I want 4K. Like, is this just a fad? The same as, like, 3D TVs and all this other stuff. That, like, who has access to 4K? I'm pretty sure not a lot of people. And this is the main selling point. Maybe it's just on a console to throw out there just to say, our range of Xbox Ones, we've got something to cater for everyone, Plain devil's advocate. I wonder, maybe that's what they're trying to do. That's the only thing I can make sense of. If you're say you're a kid and you're like, right, I'd want to buy an Xbox. I can have an Xbox One, an Xbox One S, a slim one. I think it's a bit faster as well. Or I can actually make the full jump, the full leap, and get the Xbox One X. Sorry. And that's the only thing I'm thinking of. Maybe they just wanted the full range to say, a range of consoles is varied now, and no one's left out. But I think they focus too much on graphics. This was Microsoft's time to shine. They could finally dig their heels in the sand and say, you know what? We've been in this console war we've been getting the shit kicked out of us for the last couple of years, and now we're going to fight back. Now we're going to do something. Now we can change gaming. Now we can have the ball in our court. And I think even Sony's press conference entirely revolved around Microsoft's, because this was the kind of, say, what's the expression, like the ace up their sleeve, this console, and they didn't do anything with it. And I think they could have done so much more to put pressure on Sony, because I think for everyone, people need a good competition, a good healthy competition between both companies. I have a PS4. I used to have an Xbox 360, an Xbox One, and I sold my Xbox One to get a PS4. And I don't have anything against Xbox at all. I watched it last night in hope of being converted back, of wanting to buy an Xbox One. You know, I've nothing against them. We need healthy competition. That's what drives markets. It's what drives innovation. We need competition. And Xbox just, I feel like they're just not doing enough. I don't understand just this marketing. Like, I really, really don't. To me, I don't know if it'll flop, this Scorpio, but I was definitely expecting, the way it was built up, I was expecting so much more. And what was delivered was just a 4K machine. You know, you can play all of your old games, all of the games you've already played in just slightly better graphics. To me, that does zilch. I couldn't care less about that. I really couldn't. Even my TV, I think it does 720p or whatever it is. I don't care. If a game is good, I was brought up in an era where it's just graphics don't really matter if the gameplay is good enough. And maybe they're appealing to masses that just, I love graphics, you know what I mean? They're so like, if a game looks good, the rest will follow. You know, look at the Order 66 PS4 game, complete flop. Amazing graphics, gameplay, shit, absolutely shit. So I'm all about story, you know what I mean? Now, I want to get on to Xbox's lineup, what they showcased. I really got confused watching it, because they kept on, after they'd put up a game and say, you know, new game coming, and before it come out it would say, sorry, I'm trying to think of it, was called launch exclusive. Yeah, it was called launch exclusive. And I was kind of sitting there, kind of scratching my head, kind of saying, what's a launch exclusive? Like, what's this new launch? I thought it meant like a new Xbox One launch game, you know what I mean? But it was only after I kept on thinking about it. I think these are all timed exclusives. And by launch, I mean when the game launches, this is a timed exclusive for Microsoft. And there was a hell of a lot. I can't remember now how many, but there must have been about maybe 10, 12, could be even 20 of these timed exclusives. So that's what I think Microsoft is trying to do, to try and I think edge back a few numbers maybe to their consoles, to try and, there's that many people now, the amount of consoles sold, like, there's not much more of a market. I think they need to start kind of trying to convert the PS4 people over to Xbox One, and if they do that by getting good games. What did they announce? Really, they announced a few good games. In my opinion, like my taste and other people's taste is going to be totally different. New Assassin's Creed in Egypt did nothing for me at all. And one thing I really noticed, and the game seemed bland, the gameplay, and I'm not a fan of Assassin's Creed anyway, but one thing that stood out to me like a sore thumb, okay, I don't know if other people noticed this. When you think of Assassin's Creed, okay, just picture this. When you think of Assassin's Creed, what do you think of? Like, apart from, you know, the obviously assassination part, you think of climbing the buildings, yeah? The structure, the whole, you know, the stealth around the city. The part they showcased in Egypt, the architecture is totally different. It's these tiny, small little houses. And even, there was no kind of, no, in Italy, there's all these little window ledges and there's little blocks and there's architecture and it all just seems perfect for you to like climb around on. This was like kind of open land, and I'm like, I don't understand, like it just didn't sit well with me. It didn't look right at all. So if you're into that, maybe you still like it. I don't know. I seen they showed a bit of Sea of Thieves, as like a really chill game. It did look pretty fun, I have to say. It did look pretty fun. The only thing I'll be wary of is repetitiveness. It did look really fun. It's a MMO. Tons of people playing. You're on a pirate ship. I'm not sure if you set up your own clan, or if this is just you go into a game lobby and you're on a ship and you go to an island. You have to look for treasure. You fight people. Tons of stuff. You have to get the treasure, bring it back to the boat, fight off other people, and the other people in the other boats shooting at you, trying to take your treasure, are other players as well. And you can explore underwater. You all this type of stuff. It looks really, really fun. I just hope it's not as really, really repetitive. Because I'm kind of thinking, I'm not trying to be negative, but when I'm looking at this trailer, I'm kind of thinking, right, he's on a boat, he goes to a land, he goes underground, finds treasure, he brings it back on the boat, he goes and sells the treasure. And I'm just thinking, I hope this is not just rinse and repeat, this cycle. That's not kind of, right, back again, find more, back again, find more. Back, find treasure, sell it. Back, find treasure, sell it. Hope it's not another No Man's Sky. That's what I really, really hope. That there actually is exploration. There's different sort of crafting or whatever else. It's an MMO, so it could even be fun, that aspect. No Man's Sky really suffered because it was just bland. There was nothing there. There was no other people, no multiplayer, nothing. So it got boring extremely quick. So I hope this game is good. It looks really, really fun, and I've been looking at it for a while. Another game I've been absolutely just captivated by for the last years. I don't even know how long this game has been in development for. It seems like fucking 5 years at this point. It's a game called Cuphead. Okay, this is an arcade game, and it's absolutely amazing. Well, it looks amazing. And when I had the Xbox, I was like, this is one of the games that's actually making me keep an Xbox. Like, I didn't want the Xbox at that point. There was nothing to play on it. And I'm like, I really want to play this game. And it was announced, I think it was about 2 years ago. Announced in the last year, there's a few more bits shown on it. This year, they finally showed it again. And finally gave it a release date. It's in September. And it does look really, really fun. I think it's like a side-scroller, but it's got this amazing, amazing art direction where it's like 1940s kind of cartoons. It also has beautiful, beautiful designs, beautiful colours, and it's just beautiful. I'd highly recommend you guys look it up. It just looks like an art form, not even a game. It's just beautiful. It's honestly making me think of want to get a fucking Xbox just to play this fucking game. I'm so excited to see it and what it looks like. I suppose I can't do this podcast looking at their presentation and not talk about, I think it's pretty sure is the main talking point, apart from the Scorpio game wise, is a game called Anthem. Now, EA announced this game briefly the other night, which would be 2 days ago now, this podcast. The night before the Xbox presentation, EA announced it briefly. He showed just a cinematic trailer, that's it. And then they said, you'll see the full reveal at the Xbox press conference. So come on last night, and everyone was going to sit in anticipation for this game. Because he showed an intriguing kind of cinematic trailer. But also, they announced that it was the original Mass Effect team that are creating it. Not the team that created Andromeda. That's Edmonton, I think it is. They were known for the fucked up facial expressions and shit like that. I'm sure you've seen all the videos. This is Montreal. I'm pretty sure. It's either that or mixing the two of them around, So, so the graphics look incredible. It was really scripted, corny voiceover actors. They kind of run around with the guns and it's like, oh yeah, teamwork and let's go here and let's go there and oh my god, get down and cover. These really cheesy voice acting, and it kind of took away from it, from the whole gameplay that we've seen. They shot it in 4K, all the rest of it. Game looked, I have to say, it did look really fun, really, really fun. So basically, it's kind of like you're in this city high up in the sky. I think it's like behind some wall, and you're in like exosuits. It kind of looked a bit sci-fi. You get in your suit and you can jump off. There's different styles of suits, but different classes. Sorry, that's a better way to say it. You have your kind of rogue, which is, I think it was like a rogue or hunter or something, which is kind of like nimble, but I'm assuming kind of like bows and maybe quick attacks. You can also be like a tank, and you can get like a fucking mortar, strap it to your back, stuff like that. So you've got different classes. You jump off this big wall, you fly down to the entire fly down a huge length to the forest floor, and there's tons of like monsters there. And it showed a bit of footage where it's all these enemies called scars, I think. Huge groups of them, and you can shoot mortars at them with players. I think they said it was an MMO actually, and I got an extremely weird vibe from it. It was there was at a point where the character shot a big kind of group of missiles, took out this group of enemies, and then they went over and picked up a gun. And straight away in my head, I just clicked. And I was like, "This is Destiny. This just reminds me so much of Destiny." And I hope they don't ruin this game. I really hope, because the same as Destiny, you know the way they're very good at showcasing games, but when you get the game, it's a totally different matter. This looked fun now, and one thing that struck me as well, I mentioned it to my friend I was watching it with. There was little to no HUD in the game, literally nothing, absolutely nothing, no HUD. You're flying through the forest, and it's just like you're just this weird mech, human in a mech suit, kind of running around, and there was no HUD. Even when you aim your gun, the reticule is not even full white. It's kind of like just a tiny bit of white, like an opaque white that you can just barely see. And I found it interesting that I think they wanted you maybe just focus on the graphics. I'm not sure if that's a game mechanic, to have like literally just bare that you focus on your character, or if it's just maybe for display purposes only, since it's a cinematic advertisement kind of. So that seems to be the one that everyone's interested in. Everyone was talking about this game called Anthem. It does look amazing. Don't think they actually gave a release date. Big open world MMO RPG type game. It's probably going to sell well. Whether it's good or not, I think remains to be true. I think more needs to be seen about it. One thing during the bit of gameplay, it never gave any context of what you're actually doing, and that kind of struck me as well. So you jump off this big cliff, and it's kind of like go and kill monsters or whatever. You have to go and defend the wall or something, whatever the fuck it was. And you're running through the forest floor, and you're kind of shooting these bad guys, but you don't pick up anything. You don't pick up any items. I think your main objective maybe is to go and kill some more enemies, but that was it. There was no like, do you scavenge? What do you do? Like, how do you upgrade yourself? Do you get skills? Do you collect scrap? Or, do you scavenge? Or what is it? There was nothing really showcased, so I kind of wish they did more and stop focusing on the big explosions. Give me more context to your game. Let me get involved. Let me want to play it, you know what I mean? And they just didn't. I didn't like that about it. I wish they focused more on what the game was actually about, you know what I mean? So you can kind of like, well, is it customization? Is it story driven? Or what the fuck? So that was that game. There was a few other things as well. Anthem was probably, I think, the most anticipated, I think the most talked about. Assassin's Creed, yeah, I didn't really enjoy that too much. It's just not my type of game. A few other things like Forza, stuff like that. It's kind of just a car racing game. It does look good in 4K, but what fucking doesn't? You know what I mean? If you pay that money, yeah, you get a good looking game, but still a lot of fucking money for just nice looking clouds in the sky. I'm trying to think now. I'm thinking of just a games review, but to be honest, there wasn't that much that stuck out in my head. There was a few kind of interesting, like aesthetic looking games. A game called Awaken. Another game that stuck out in my head was it's all about the dark. I didn't see it even mentioned before. Really caught my attention. It's all about the dark, and you're kind of walking around. I think they said it was co-op or multiplayer. There was 3 or 4 characters walking around, and the whole screen is kind of pitch dark, and you have these little lamps, and it's just the way it feels, it looks. There's huge kind of giants, and you walk up, and it's only when you're so close to them, then you kind of come awake and you fight you, and it looked really interesting. It's definitely a game I'll be interested in. I'm not sure if it's even a full title or an arcade game, but I definitely would love to try it out. So that was another game that stuck out to me. Everything else kind of just slipped past, really. Like, there wasn't... Yeah, I don't think there was much else that interested me, really. Minecraft 4K. It kind of just added 4K to everything as well. So just all in all, oh yeah, God, I can't forget about this. The Xbox original backward compatibility. So last year they announced that Xbox 360 titles would be backwards compatible. I think it was the year before that, on the Xbox One. Okay, so now their big announcement is the Xbox One X. We're going to play all of these kind of Xbox One games already released in 4K now. That's great, isn't it? For $500. That's the new way forward. And then in his next sentence, Phil Spencer kind of turned around and says, but we also have backwards compatibility. We're working on backwards compatibility for Xbox original games. And it kind of just seems a bit, all over the place. And people all screamed and cheered and loved that decision. But to me, I'm kind of thinking, I don't understand why they keep going backwards, Like, this is literally, in one hand, you just announce a new console going forward, and then you announce, like, literally the oldest games for the Xbox you're going to start making them backwards compatible. I suppose it's a good thing, but I don't understand it. Look forward and keep going forward. I think these kind of big decisions, it feels to me like they contradict themselves. And I'll be open for discussion on this, but that's what they feel to me. Here's us going forward. No, we don't want to go too far forward though. This is all of our really, 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 really old stuff. Remember all that stuff? And like, don't get me wrong. I understand, like, in movies and in video games now, especially reboots, remasters, nostalgia sells. It just does, and that's the reason why they reboot everything, like, the Mummy, the Fast and the Furious. Even here, it's just nostalgia sells. That people get this thing in their head and it's like, oh, I love that game was amazing, and you play it again and it's like, that game is shit, you know what I mean? Because some of them don't age well, and maybe that's what they're just going for. But it's just anything to keep their attention. I think it's like, right, really old Xbox One games, you like that, didn't you? Here's more of that shit. So that's what I got from that. But I suppose I'm not being all negative. I'm saying, yeah, good thing, whatever. More games to play, I suppose. But the decisions still kind of, I don't know. They don't make any sense to me. I don't know what the Xbox is doing. So pros about the whole thing. There was definitely a wider variety of games. Oh yes, there was actually like a Japanese version, say like a waifu version of Dark Souls. Looked pretty interesting. Code Vein or something like that. Code Vein, I think it was called. Looked pretty kind of Dark Soulsy, more kind of anime style. Kind of like even look as well. You put on some mask, get superpowers, and you kind of stabbing bitches. Looked pretty fun. Hard to describe kind of through a podcast without kind of seeing the video. I remember it, but like, it's hard to describe to people who wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's if you like Dark Souls, you'll probably get it. It's just one of them games. That's it could be good. But it was the first time I seen proper variety of games. It was Dragon Ball Z game as well, a fighting game. You have your Assassin's Creed for like your standard AAAs. You'll have your sports titles, your racing games, a lot of indie games, a lot of arcade games, all of these kind of unique styles. So I have to say, there's a lot of, I think they're just trying to cater to everyone, and that's what it seems like. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I think the whole press conference was about. This whole presentation was about the Scorpio. Oh, this is for the high end players, and they want to the graphics horrors. You know what I mean? Now they can play in 4K. And there's all the people that are kind of casual players, and they used to love playing the Xbox when it first came out, the originals. Well, here's all the old games. Remember all them? You guys can play them. Here's someone for people who love kind of indie games. Here's even something, maybe even the Japanese fan base. Maybe they might get into this other kind of Code Vein. I think that's what it's called. And it's the first time I've seen they didn't just give us these stupid standard AAA games. It's like there's a bit more variety now. Tons more. So now there's just a wider variety, and I'm kind of like, that's good. That's good. It feels like everyone has a chance now to get in, and it feels a lot more accessible this year. Now maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I felt. There was something for everyone. A casual, hardcore people, story-driven games, action games. There was just something there for everyone. Everyone, I felt, and I liked that. It was a very solid lineup. Obviously they have a powerful console going forward. It's very interesting to see what they're going to do with that console. At the moment, it's just playing Xbox One games, if you know what I mean. So what I mean by that is, it's simply the Xbox One X is still an Xbox One console. So whatever games people create, say they create, for argument's sake, say they create new Dark Souls that's exclusive to Xbox One, hypothetically. They create new Dark Souls exclusive to Xbox One. The Xbox One has to be able to run that game. And so does the Xbox One X, which is supposedly, twice as powerful, say? Has so many, whatever, graphics and CPUs and all this other bullshit. has to be able to run both. So the Xbox One X, even as powerful as it is, will always be held back by the Xbox One because it has to play on both. You can't create two different games. And because it's still in the same generation, it's just a more powerful version of the same thing. That's all you're going to get. It's just the same games but better graphics. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to push any boundaries or open any doors, I don't feel. So unless they finally say, you know what, we're going to start creating some Xbox One X exclusive games and really start fucking pushing the boundaries here and just going crazy with this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, really start going forward and put the pressure on Sony. Start going, shit, they're starting to do something new and we don't have anything in that market yet. We need to, you know, the first one there seems to win with E3, with Xbox 360. You know what I mean? Once you're going to take off, it's very, very hard to come back. And I feel if Xbox took initiative, they could do that. But it's going to be interesting to see. Like, I don't think they can, because I think if they called it a Scorpio, it would kind of stand out on its own. It would be like, yeah, it's a Scorpio. It also plays Xbox One games, but this is a kind of standalone console, and we can start making games for the Scorpio by itself. Start off a new generation. Scrap the Xbox One as a bad name. It's done. You know what I mean? It's already lost the console. So console, say Race or War, if people see something new, more powerful, they might be like, I need this thing, I want this thing. Create more exclusive games for it. Skip all this other bullshit. Go straight for, like, you know, first of all, if you want to sell consoles, get in touch with Bethesda and get them to get a Skyrim or a Fallout or some game like that. We want exclusive rights for our new Scorpio. Just graphics to the fucking max. Spend a few years in that. Release at the same time. You will win. You will win. Put money into it, and people like, I need this new console. Look at Zelda. Look at Zelda on the Wii U. Shifting units. People will buy that shit. You know what I mean? But I think because they called it the One X, they kind of fucked up a bit. But we'll see what happens. Conclusion. Scorpio is just a more expensive PS4 Pro. Now, I understand that it's supposed to run in native... it's supposed to run in native 4K and all this other stuff, and this is the whole way of going forward with it. It's supposed to be just... games look better on it. That's it. No new features. It's a bit... The Xbox One X is a bit smaller than the other ones. That's it. And you're paying 500 quid for it. PS4 Pro, you're probably playing better games on it. At the moment, before all these new games come out, playing better games on it, it's a lot cheaper, and it's not too far off the Xbox One power-wise. You know? I'm struggling to see a sell. Unless you're just kind of an elitist, and it's like they kept using these kind of taglines as the most powerful console ever made, and, you know, experience true power and stuff like that. So maybe if you're an elitist, kind of like, yeah, I have a PS4 Pro, but it's not there's another more powerful console out there. And, you know, PS4 did use that against Xbox a lot when the Xbox One X wasn't around. And I think rather than Xbox showing initiative, they made the wrong decision, and they chose to Xbox One or Microsoft, in developing this Scorpio, in developing this Xbox One X, I think the perfect way to surmise it would be they came across to me with the same mentality as an insecure bodybuilder. Now, I want to talk about that. Now that's the mentality I got. Imagine an insecure bodybuilder. That's what I kind of got from that. They were kind of like, you said we're not powerful enough. Well, wait till you see this. Rather than just going, I don't need your fucking opinion. I'm going to do what I want. I want to go my way about it. That's what I strongly believe. I think they fell into Sony's trap of people saying, oh, we've got the more powerful console. And they said, oh, we want to see power. We'll show you power. And they created this console that I think kind of falls in between the cracks. It's not a new generation. It's part of the old generation. But it's priced as if it's kind of in the new generation, but the PS4 Pro is nearly the exact same. It's kind of like, what do you do with it? As I was saying before, trying to develop games for it, it's going to be held back. You can't create console exclusive games for, like, imagine they created the imagine like the PS2 was around. There's like a PS2 and a PS2 Slim. After a few years, you bring out a smaller version, maybe a tiny bit more power, faster or whatever. You can't create exclusive games for the PS4 2 Slim and just leave the first one. But there's such a diverse range from the for the Xbox One, from the Xbox One S, and then this Scorpio, this thing that just sits out there, and it's supposed to be like, it's so much more powerful, but its power has been wasted because it has to keep dragging along these other two consoles with it. And I'm thinking, why are you still dragging along these consoles? Why not just make the leap, go forward and say, you know what, let's just really take the bull by the horns here. But they didn't. They just said, no, we've got the more powerful console now, 500 quid, and you can play it. This whole 4K thing. So, yeah. So that's my review. I don't know if I'd say I'm disappointed in Microsoft. I think there's a few solid games there. I like the way they're kind of thinking going forward with their game variety and stuff like that. And there seems to be something there for everyone. The only thing, I'm just not sure about the Scorpio, but I'm not going to be negative about it. I'm going to keep my mind open and see how it goes in the future. See what they do with it. And it'll be very, very interesting to see the sales on it. I hope it sells well. I hope it does good, because I think we need competition badly as gamers. Regardless if you're PS4 or Xbox One, you need competition. That's how you get better prices. That's how you get better games, better innovation, creativity. You know, deals. The games with gold, the PS4 free games. At the moment, the PS4 free games are pretty shit. The Xbox One free games are fucking really, really good. Because they have to. They've got their balls in a vice grip, and Sony's just squeezing. But there's no real pressure on Sony. They can release any old shit. They still have the numbers. You know what I mean? So anyway, I think this has gone on long enough, and I just want to do a quick, not a quick review. Probably went on lengthy enough. Yeah, it did. If you listen to this, I really appreciate it. This is a deviation from a normal podcast. It's just a quick review, a long review on the Xbox One presentation, and I'm going to do another one for the Sony one, which is on tonight. And since I have a fucking PS4 sitting in front of me, I'm very interested to see what Sony do. I'm very interested to see Sony's reaction to the PlayStation or the Xbox One. But I feel like the way the Xbox One X was released, I don't think they have to have much reaction. You already have a console there to fight with it. Yeah, the PS4 Pro. I don't think Microsoft put enough pressure on Sony, and that's the bottom line. They'll keep on going, same as usual, but I think it's still Sony's to win. Even this E3, I think it's Sony's to win. The console war still goes to this generation. Sony have them beat all ends up. I can't see them this changing anything really, the Scorpio, at all. I really can't. And if Sony tonight come out and pull something out of their arse, you know, Bloodborne to Last of Us to these crazy, crazy good games, I think the Scorpio is just nothing but a flop, honestly. But we'll see what happens, and hopefully it's a good show, and hopefully they're not too far apart, because if Sony starts pulling away, I think everyone's fucked. You know, we need competition. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll upload this and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow as well, because it's on 2 o'clock tomorrow for me. So yay. So yeah, see you then. Bye bye. Good luck.